What can you get in a $300 smartphone in 2020? If you go for the Poco X3, the answer is everything, or mostly everything. You have an 120Hz screen and a 64-megapixel camera as the highlights. Then there's an impressive 2-day battery and goodies like IR blaster, self-cleaning speakers, liquid cool for gaming, and the list goes on. Xiaomi's latest phone is cheap, but manages to include most, if not all, of what's hot this year. The result? Un poco gordo. That's our way of gently saying the Poco X3 is quite a bulky, heavy phone, coming in at 215 grams thanks to its massive 5160 mAh battery. The battery is one of the first things we noticed, and it would have been impossible not to. We received the phone from Xiaomi Romania covered in a protective wrapping. On that plastic wrap, the company spelled out what to expect. Right off the bat, Xiaomi wanted to highlight NFC, putting it right next to the logo on the wrap. Thankfully, it's not also on the back of the phone itself, because there's a pretty big logo there. That's a pity, since we really liked the blue finish on the plastic back panel and the way it catches the light. It would have looked a lot nicer with a more discreet logo. Still, while the overall look of the phone is nothing out of the ordinary and betrays the price tag, the Poco X3 truly shines thanks to its display. It's a 6.67-inch FHD. As you know, an 120Hz display used to be a flagship feature, but Poco really wanted to offer users a smooth browsing experience, even at a quarter of the price. And we're happy with what we got, and you probably will be too. You won't get the blackest black, since it's not AMOLED, but it feels premium enough. After handling the phone for a few days, we were also impressed with battery performance. We managed to squeeze 2.5 days of battery life without sacrificing anything, and it charges fast too. We did some Need for Speed and Plants vs. Zombies gaming sessions, plenty of web browsing, and a lot of camera tests. After we connected the Poco X3 with the 33-watt charger included in the box, it took only 30 minutes for it to reach 60%, while a full charge took us under an hour. Real props to Poco here. Those are so close to the speeds the makers promised: 62% in 30 minutes and 100% in 65 minutes. After a 40-minute gaming session, we didn't notice any overheating, lag, or input issues. That's partially thanks to Poco Game Turbo Mode. This optimizes performance for gaming and lets you adjust the touch area, the touch response, and the sensitivity to repeated taps. However, even outside the Game Turbo Mode, you'd expect Poco X3 to handle games well. After all, it's the first phone to use the new Snapdragon 732G CPU, which is a major upgrade from the popular mid-range chipset 730. And yeah, the G in 732 stands for gaming, so you can see why we expected it to run smooth. The new chipset is paired with an Adreno 618 Elite Gaming Series GPU and 6 GB of RAM. Usually, you can't have more than 1 or 2 eye-catching specs in a budget phone, but Xiaomi must have missed that memo and went all in with the Poco X3. What do I mean? Well, the company also put a 64-megapixel AI quad camera with a 13-megapixel ultra-wide sensor. The depth and macro sensors are both 2 megapixels. Okay, I can hear you asking about the selfie camera, so here it goes. The 20-megapixel images are overall good enough. Some colors are subdued, and sometimes the bright area is clipped. Also, some hairstyles are too complex for that 2-megapixel depth sensor. The camera app has a lot of features and filters. We especially like the one where you could place your subject multiple times in the frame. At this price, we feel that the Poco X3 is checking all the boxes in the camera department. Of course, you can't really have it all without spending a pretty penny, so let's see where the real compromises happen. First off, let's go back to the selfie camera. Portrait mode was a frustrating experience when we tried out most of the filters available. The 20-megapixel sensor handles regular selfies just fine, but it all goes sideways when you try to use the filters provided. Hair clipping is a problem you'll notice. On the hardware side, we also had a few complaints, or nitpicks, if you want to call them that. The arrangement of the cameras themselves is a bit frustrating when you use the included antibacterial case. Just look here. The round cutout for the cameras leaves a lot of space for dirt to get in, so the antibacterial feature seems kind of useless if you think about it. We also had a few laggy moments when playing with the themes menu and installing new ones. Speaking of the interface, the Poco X3 obviously uses MUI 12 based on Android 11, which feels intuitive enough. Fortunately, since it's Android, you can always delve deep into customization or even download an alternate launcher like the popular Eevee. But these are overall just nitpicks. Despite the bulkiness of the device and a few small complaints, we have to say the Poco X3 is definitely a best buy. This phone is flashy, not beautiful. Looking at the specs though, it's amazing to see so much thrown in for such a low price. The 6GB of RAM, 64GB of storage variant goes for 229 euros, while the 128GB one sets you back to 269 euros, which means around $310. Do you think Poco has really raised the bar for mid-range phones with the X3? Tell us what you think in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button if you want to see more videos like this.